Okay, this is Kay Davver, and we are on Drinking at Moe's.
All right, everybody, taking time out before we get this show started. I want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinkin' Mo's be a brand ambassador for their clothing line. They got good stuff. They got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got beanies, they got lots of great stuff, encouraging everybody to break out of their comfort zone, live their best self, and hey, it's something I try to live every day. Now, be sure when you go and you're finishing filling out your order, use the code Drinking at Moe's, get 10% off, and the link and the code will both be in the description. Let's fucking go. All right, everybody, welcome Drinking at Moe's. Big Mo here while I get that cough out of me. You know the drill. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, hit the damn bell so you don't miss a moment, because that YouTube algorithm is a pain in the ass. We are most places you can find your audio podcast too. Today, God damn it. Today, I'm excited to have with me Hey Davver. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Also, I'm supposed to be the dead person, not you. So,
Yeah, that's why I try to tell people whenever we get into funny conversations until whenever this passes, I'm like, God damn it, don't get me laughing too fucking hard. You're gonna make me cough up a lung.
no promises.
All right. Already off to a good start. All right. So, first thing I like to start off with everybody with is what got you started as a fan, and then what got you deciding to make that leap into the business?
Oh boy. I am super honest about this. I did not grow up watching wrestling.
It
I
happened?
am a later in life wrestling fan, and I'm super proud of it. I stumbled upon a lucha show back in St. Louis
Mm,
in like 2018.
okay.
And I was like, this is amazing. I had never seen lucha before. I knew WWE existed, but I'd never seen anything like lucha before. So that really got me into it. And then fast forward to 2 years ago, I moved to Colorado
Mm.
and I started doing burlesque in town. And the communities are all very similar.
It,
And somebody in my graduating burlesque class was a wrestling promoter.
no,
And I went to go see a show that was wrestling and burlesque, which,
I've heard through this, as many episodes as I've had. I believe I've heard of that one. I can't, for some, as many guesses I've had, some stuff gets a little fuzzy from time to time, but not to interrupt you, go ahead.
no, you're good. It's called Combat and Cabaret. And I went for the burlesque, obviously, and left. And I immediately messaged the promoter and I was like, how do I start wrestling? Like, how do I get to do this? And he's like, come on to training. So I went to training like a week and a half later, and that sealed the deal. It clicked for me, and I was like, I don't know why it took me so long to get here, but I'm here now, and I can't imagine not wrestling now.
No, no, hey, nothing wrong with coming into wrestling a little later in life. I know, Lord, I've had people that have maybe they've been fans for a little bit, but the thought of getting into it comes a little later. And I mean, hell, DDP got into it when he actually started in ring was relatively later in his life. Like he's still, good lord, the yoga shit he's doing is keeping him young as hell.
Oh, it's awesome. We do that actually. I requested that we start doing that training because there's so many of us that benefit from being looser and flexible, especially some of the big guys.
Yeah.
And they struggle at training. They struggle doing that yoga. And it's funny because you see them and they're like, it's yoga. How hard can it be? And I was like, we're about to get all of our butts kicked.
Oh yeah. And it's funny, bringing up St. Louis, that is actually where I got one of my first bigger events because I had interviewed the promoter of Now Wrestling Ventures, was Warrior Wrestling, and they
Mm-hmm.
did a St. Louis stop,
Okay.
and they had, oh my god, the card, I it just popped up on my memories, but there was, oh god, Myron Reed, Dante Leone against Lance Archer, and Mike Bennett versus Casey Navarro.
Okay.
And the one that I was most excited for was actually Jonah, aka Bronson Reed, versus Jeff Cobb.
That's awesome. I
Like,
know, I know Dante. I've followed him. I followed him a little bit. He's very cool. I
yeah.
think they're doing some really neat stuff in St. Louis right now.
Oh, that
I
they
know
are.
they've got is it WrestleMax that's out
I'm.
there right now?
I know they got a few.
Yeah, they've got a few of them, which, as far as I know, didn't exist before the pandemic, or if they did, it was smaller, and now it feels like it's blowing up, which is awesome to see
I think.
that my hometown
Oh
has
yeah.
such a variety.
Oh yeah. I think St. Louis Anarchy is another one that's getting pretty
Mm-hmm.
huge, and I'm always kind of jealous because there's other promotions like GCW that stops through,
Yep.
and freaking well, I got news that it's still on, but up until the news that just broke about AEW coming to just across the river from me in Council Bluffs, Iowa, they had never come closer than Kansas City.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense if Kansas City's the big
Yeah,
one nearby.
yeah, in St. Louis, they're popping up there, so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and, GCW always made me jealous because it's still on my bucket list to, as silly as it might sound, just be in the crowd for one of Nick Gage's entrances.
Yes, we were just at the show this past weekend that I was at. We were just talking about GCW because there's a group of us that really want to go when it comes. It's either Denver or Longmont, but close enough to where we can get a carload together and go. And we're like, we just want to be there to experience it.
Oh yeah, because like I I kind of jokingly talked about it, but there's seriousness about it. It's like Nick Gage's entrance. Like once you get that first bell gong, it's like the crowd just erupts and turns into a giant fucking mosh pit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care if I'm like in the back. I don't care if I'm front row. I just want to be in the middle of that.
Yeah, you just want to be there for the experience because
Oh yeah,
how
totally.
often is that chance going to come around?
Oh yeah, hell, here in Omaha, not very often because yeah,
Yeah.
I'm based in Omaha, Nebraska, and while we're getting some bigger stuff and certain wrestling comes around a lot more than it used to,
Mm-hmm.
we're still there's other places that seem to kind of look over Omaha. So it's like, oh come on.
Yeah. What's the local scene look like?
Local scene's pretty good. We got two in town that run every month. I'm trying to. One coincidentally was where I ended up meeting my wife at.
Aw.
She was helping at the merch table because the promoter's a mutual friend,
Uh-huh.
and the guy that I made my best man wrestles for him, and he'd been trying to convince me to go forever.
Uh-huh.
And like, you know what? They got a show on a day I already got off. Fine, I'll go. And I swear I hadn't been there more than 40 minutes. And he's like, come here. And then here we are. We're approaching 5 years into this dang marriage.
That's awesome. So does that mean that she is also a wrestling fan?
Not so much.
Not so much. Okay.
She
She was just
supports,
there helping out a buddy.
yeah, she supports me loving it. And if I had an event that I wanted to go to, and I'm like, man, I want to go with somebody, she always says that she will go, but she'd rather me try to find somebody else that would actually get the same enjoyment out of it first.
Yeah, that sounds actually very, very similar to my own spouse. Very supportive because I mean, I just jumped head first into this. So I've been traveling and going everywhere, which I'm very lucky to do. And he's very supportive, but he does not like watching wrestling. So if it's a big show and it's big for me, I have a big match, he'll definitely be there. But if it's like WWE, like if SmackDown's in town or AEW, he's like, I'd really like if you could go with somebody else because I'm not going to enjoy it, which I totally understand. So I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's that supportive aspect that really means the most.
Oh yeah. No, that thing here. It's like I before my wife had been in so many relationships where they kind of look down on it. So to have somebody that like they might not get it, but they know that it makes me happy, so they're like, "You're fine." Like there's
Exactly.
literally been times where I get a little irritable with stuff going on, and my wife will know that there's a wrestling show on TV, and she's like, "Why don't you go watch that? It makes you happy. You go watch that."
Go do that, go chill out for a little bit, and then we'll loop back around.
Yeah, definitely. Which I mean, I get a laugh out of it, but it does mean a lot because hell, my family was in the same boat. Support they supported that I liked it, but I remember my dad literally telling me one day with the going to the shows here local that, do you really think you're going to meet anybody at those? And then my wedding day, I literally called him over to me and I just laughed. I'm like, I remember when you told me that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, it's interesting to see how like the people that I surround myself with, how their family reacts to it. Because not my a good majority of my family doesn't know that I do this.
Oh,
And it's really funny because my grandma actually found out and she called me and had a show in Montana that weekend
I
and
think I
she was
saw.
like, "Hey, so how do you feel about your show in Montana this weekend?" And I just remember I felt like my stomach was going to drop out of my butt. I was like, how did you find out? I've been so careful about trying to hide it and keep it to myself. And she just opened that all wide open and now actually calls me after big shows and will ask me how it went, which is very sweet. But I'm still like, how did you find out in the first place,
I
Grandma?
know, right? That is awesome. That it's awesome that you got the support, but that also kind of awesome and funny how that all came about.
Yeah, I was like, how did this? And I asked her and she never really gave me an answer. And my Facebook is locked down pretty well, and so is my Instagram. So the only thing that I can think of is that she's seen when companies tag me in things.
Oh,
That has to be it.
that would be my best guess.
She's like a CIA agent on Facebook. I don't know how she does it.
That's the way my wife is. Definitely, definitely the same. And it's funny with people finding out about you know wrestling. Same thing. My parents knew about the podcast, but they didn't really until my wife, some of my nieces and nephews, and my parents all went to the zoo here in Omaha. And all of a sudden, we're on one end of the zoo, and somebody yells out, it's my nickname, but it's what everybody knows me as. They're like, "Hey, Big Mo." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And then I remember I looked over after my wife was like, "What the hell was that?" I'm like, "Oh." And then my parents just seeing the look on their faces, like, yeah, apparently I'm pretty known around here, I guess.
That's awesome, though. You're like, yep, okay, parents. Well, I'm doing this really cool thing, and this person knows me, so obviously I'm doing pretty well, right?
Yeah. And hell, I just passed a milestone that I don't think I ever thought I would get anywhere close, but it happened just about 2 years after I started this. I'm current, last I looked, 100,568 views on the YouTube channel.
That's awesome.
So,
Congratulations. That's big.
oh
That's
man,
awesome.
as of yesterday, I was sitting at like 51 shy of that 100,000 mark. I'm like, oh, come on. Get me there
Just a
before
couple more.
get me there before the end of the month, because that would mean like I literally found screenshots from like April 1st and I was sitting at like 92,000 something.
Mm-hmm.
And then just this morning, boom, I'm over that. And I'm like, holy fuck. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, that's our goal now. Now we have to get you there.
Yep. And then I'm like, okay, now what's the next one? It was like every milestone I pass, I'm like, okay, what's the next one? I then I
Yep. You keep
go,
inching along. You give yourself a goal, you attain that goal, and then you set a new one so you can keep moving forward.
oh yep. Now I've been curious because looking up and when we were talking about coming on the show, your persona, your in-ring persona is very unique. Like it reminds me a lot of like they're on AEW right now, but Abadon, very similar. And I'm like, okay, like that thought just kept popping into my head. Like, okay, I gotta ask how that came about.
No, I took a huge I really took a lot of inspiration from Abadon. They also started in Colorado, and some of the people that I work with and train with also know Abadon. So they've been a huge inspiration. Um, and I love the monster. I've always been big and spooky and intimidating. And so I was like, great, I'm going to take that and what I know and dial it up to 11. I also took a lot of inspiration from They Are Max. You know, they are a non-binary wrestler, and I'm also a non-binary wrestler. And so they're just this big, beefy, like brick shit house. And I was like, that's what I want to be. You know, that's what I want to be in the ring. So the spooky in the shit house. I'm trying to like smush together. Um, but yeah, I think Abadon's amazing. I had to, remember my trainer told me a couple months ago that I needed to do the split dye purple and green
Mm.
because my hair was too similar to Abadon's. And I was like, of course, I don't want to try and like infringe on their style. So let me find my own. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more crazy, spooky, supernatural creatures in indie. Something just a little bit different than what
Oh yeah,
everyone else is doing.
yeah. You can't do what everybody else is doing and like really make an impact in the business because I mean that's what everybody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to find a way to stand out, and finding ways like that very much stands out because I know hell whenever I see Abadon on my screen, I'm like, oh boy. And like that little bit of a push that she had not all that long ago, like having those chances for the title. I'm like, okay, this is awesome because it's like she wasn't used as much, or they weren't used. I'm like, okay, I'm getting better at that sort of thing. Like I ain't perfect about it, but I try to.
Nobody's perfect. Hey, what I say all the time is that nobody's perfect. The only thing that matters is that you're putting in effort.
And I definitely do that. I definitely do that.
And that's
But
all that matters.
but the fact of like, oh man, okay, they're they're getting like back out there for the first time in a little bit, and oh boy, they're getting to go after the dang title. Okay,
Well, from my understanding, they had to be out for a while too because they were in a car accident or
you
some kind
know
of
what?
accident.
I don't remember the exact uh happenings of it, but I do remember something about a pretty nasty injury. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've had a few people from Colorado on, and Bruce Wayans was just on, and yeah, we had a
Bossy.
nice chat right before Mania, and yeah, let's just say yes, we did have talk about him being the final boss, and then The Rock trying to call himself the final boss, and yeah, that was a thing there
We all
for.
told him he should have trademarked it. I was like, you have to trademark it.
No, yeah, no, Pete. Oh man, I'm right there with you. But yeah, Abadon came up in that conversation too. And, you know, going from there, I was because I noticed a familiar face in here in the poster for the BPW Mayhem show.
Hell
There was
yeah.
Gino.
Yep.
Gino, he was on. God dang. Okay, I'm getting damn near 250 episodes. So remembering the exact number that he was on, I'm like, okay,
That's fine.
I don't remember right now. But
Yeah, no, Gino is our title holder right now. We currently only have one title for BPW, and Gino and Caleb Crush and Ryzen and Killian Crow have all had a storyline with that title that I believe is not being defended this month, but next month.
okay,
So that's been a whole thing. But I've been lucky to work with Gino at a few companies now. I actually had a match with him a month or two ago at Flashback in Montana.
oh yeah, yeah, I did. I think I do remember seeing that pop up. That was nice. I didn't actually get to watch the show, but I'm very interested. If like, are they anywhere like YouTube to past shows so people can go and watch that stuff?
They should be. They should be. I know Flashback takes a little bit longer to get their stuff up.
Mm.
BPW is normally pretty good about getting their stuff up pretty quickly. But yeah, I've gotten to work with Gino. I see him every month. I see Bruce Wayne's every month. I There's some good guys. There's some really good guys in Colorado and the, surrounding area.
Oh yeah, it's been a while since I've been out there. I know when I first started watching independent wrestling, going back to you getting your first introduction with Lucha, I was actually stationed in San Diego. And let me tell you, home of some pretty fucking good Lucha.
Good to
Because
know.
one of my, well, he's still to this day like a brother to me. He's pretty much a damn legend down there. But man, he was in my first ever show. He was in my last ever show before I came back. And hell, I've had him on the podcast a couple times.
Hmm.
So that, and then, okay, I just noticed this in my notes because, like I said, sometimes I trail off. So I try to
No,
reel
you're good. I
myself.
should do I need to do a better job of keeping you on track?
Maybe. I don't know. But you brought up flashback, and I noticed it in my notes because I put it down because another uh, another familiar face because I know him quite well, and Duke Cornell at Flashback. There was a show that you guys were both on, and when I saw him, I'm like, okay, I didn't know he went out to Montana, but okay, because
Uh-huh.
he's been all over the damn place. He's based out of the Omaha area, so
Okay.
he he definitely gets out there traveling. We
You
we
got
always
to. You got to get out and travel.
oh hell, same with the damn podcast. I started out with friends of mine local to me, and then I'm like, well, I am gonna run out of people here sooner or later. So then I reached out to, I think it was the SATs, the guys that literally invented the Spanish fly. I'm like, this might be a long shot, but here.
Might as well.
And then boom, it just snowballed from there. Now I've interviewed, dang, I've lost count of how many people from Matt Tremont's promotion in New
Hmm.
Jersey.
Yep.
I literally lost count because I don't know if there's very many people that I haven't.
Hmm.
And oh, Matthew Palmer and Athena's promotion in Texas,
Yeah,
MPX.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which because you've interviewed Morgan Mercy.
Yep,
Hmm.
yep. Morgan Mercy, hers is gonna be released here soon. I have to look at. I have it all scheduled out, but I've had Matthew Palmer on. I've had a few other people, Morgan Mercy being one of them. So there's a few promotions out there that have been very good to me, to
That's
say the least.
awesome. Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like too with reaching out to people, the worst thing they can say is no or not right now. And like, you know what? Thank you so much for even taking the time to reach out to me.
Nope. And you know what? That's the way I do it with people that at least get back to me because Lord knows I've had enough times where I just don't hear anything. And that's like, it's whatever. It's all
Yeah.
good. But
It's just like trying to reach out to promotions that you want to work for.
oh god, I know I've wanted to do pre-shows, for the podcast with different promotions, and I've been able to do a handful. But yeah, just those reaching out. That is the most nerve-wracking part of the whole damn experience because you're just
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh god, like that waiting and wondering what if
Hmm.
is always the worst.
Or you're really excited to reach out to somebody and then you're like, okay, I'm super excited. I'm going to reach out to them. And then you do get that rejection and then just be like, oh man, like, should I have even reached out? Do I look stupid now? Like,
Yeah, I've definitely had a few like that where, yeah, let's just say, okay, I'm going to put this out there. I don't care if people want to charge to be on podcasts because, I mean, it's their time. If that's what they want to do, good. Just make that known, like
yeah.
right off the bat, and then no issue. But I've had, not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I've had people that have wanted to charge, but then when I say, I especially early on, I'm like, I don't really have the sponsorships to help cover that, so I don't think I can right now. And I think they were thinking that I was trying to get them to do it for free. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm just saying, not right now.
Yeah.
If you like later on when stuff with that gets settled, by all means, I'll reach back out. But yeah, they got kind of mad. Like, I'm sorry.
Well, and it's hard when you start out too. Cause like, okay, when you messaged, if you reach out to me and you're like, hey, I'd love to have you on the show, I immediately would be like, okay, awesome. This is what my rate is, blah, 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 whatever. And then if you're like, oh, I'm really sorry, I can't pay that right now, or like I can't pay you, then you go from there.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like people have such a hard time communicating. that you just have to be upfront about that. Like no one's asking you to work for free, but you just have to, communicate that.
Oh yeah. And my whole thing with the podcast is just wanting to, obviously, yeah, if I get the chance to somebody that's on national TV, like yeah, I'd be a fool not to take that. But my ultimate goal has always been, okay, I want independent people from all over the damn country and trying to maybe get some potential eyes on them outside of their general area. That's been my whole goal because, like, yeah, I've realized that the in ring aspect might not be my thing because of my bad back from the Navy. So I'm like, well, maybe I can give back to the business that's given me so much this way.
There's so many other things that you can do though besides wrestling. Like if you love this business, there's so many things that you can do. Okay,
Well,
you have an injury and you can't wrestle. You could manage, you could be an announcer, you could do commentary, you could work on production. I think that people forget sometimes how important production aspect
oh
is
yeah,
to it. And that's coming from a theater kid that has done production and tech their whole life. There's still, if you want to be involved, like find a way to be involved because
oh yeah,
there's so many different things that you can do.
oh yeah, and like the podcast now is led me to get the chance to make my commentary debut, and there's been a few others that have I've talked with about it, but I might have to travel a little bit for those. But hey, if I'm getting the chance, why the hell not? But it's like you start off one area, maybe you get a chance in another area down the road, and then boom, you're off to the races.
Yeah, the biggest thing, and again, kind of going back to when I did a lot of theater growing up, the biggest thing is getting your name out there and making those connections.
Yeah,
Because if you early on, you go and you work a promotion, you work hard, you do a good job, then people are going to talk about you. Those workers are going to go to other shows and be like, oh, I worked with this person. They did a great job. Let's have them on the show. Like word spreads. And
oh
that's the
yeah,
most important thing. So as long as you're like doing your thing and working hard and showing people that, then you're going to get work.
oh yeah, and like the very same thing that goes along with that. How I ended up getting the people at Matt Tremont's promotion H2O. Like I started off with one, and then oh, then I got the other, and then before I know it, there's some months where it seems like the the episodes that I'm releasing are all talent from there.
Yeah,
It just snowballs that way.
that's how it happens.
Yep, and with mentioned being non-binary, I'm loving right now how the wrestling business in general seems to be a lot more accepting than it used to be for stuff like that. Like I know big example because they did a Dark Side of the Ring episode on it with Canyon. You
Mm-hmm.
know he was struggling with the being gay and like not wanting it to get out there and not knowing
Mm-hmm.
what people would think, and that driving a lot of his mental health issues.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it it's kind of sad thinking that, man, if he would have been able to just hold on a little bit longer, he'd be able to see how everything's going right now with hell. GCW, they throw Effie's Big Day Brunch every so often.
Yes.
And
Oh, I know, I don't know if it's that one specifically, but I do know that there is like a queer brunch show coming up. I think it might be Effie's.
because I know that,
I don't want to misspeak on that. But it is getting better. And I wish that God, the wrestlers that were growing up and or who were wrestling in the 80s, 90s, 2000s could see us now because things aren't perfect and it's definitely going to take some time to be perfect, but we're getting there. Like there are whole like full queer in San Francisco.
mm,
Jetta, the promoter, is doing amazing things. In Colorado, there is Joan Jett's big queer launch That's in June. Like having those shows is so important because not that we just want to highlight queer talent, but it's important that we do highlight queer talent and we show, hey, we're here, we're super proud of who we are, and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. No, that definitely a good thing. And I like it's always great when people are able to, be their true selves because I've always said, much like pro wrestling should be for everybody, I always say, hell, drinking at most should is for everybody because one I'm wearing one of his shirts right now. One of my favorite country singers, Luke Combs, he at a show that I went to, he said he has a song called "My Kind of Folk." And he's like, if you're here, paying for a ticket for my show and wanting to sing along with my music, doesn't matter religion, gender, uh, sexual orientation. I don't care. You're my kind of folk. And I'm like, you know what? That is how I want it for this show.
That's
I don't
awesome.
care if you're willing to sit down for guests. If you're willing to sit down and talk wrestling with me, talk your career with me, we're good. We're good. I don't want to say I don't care because I care about the guests, but I don't care in the fact of it don't matter to me if you're non-binary, transgender. I've had transgender people on. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't care if you're good. You're because I know my wife and I had the talk that it's like, you know what? I don't care if they're living their best life, they're just happy, they're being a good person, not hurting anybody. It ain't any of my damn business how they live their damn life. I don't give a shit.
No, that's awesome. And especially when it comes to wrestling, like I know every once in a while it does become a little bit difficult because so
Yeah,
I wrestle a lot of men. That's just that's just like how things have happened, and also I pride myself on being able to get in the ring with anybody.
yeah.
And every once in a while you'll run into guys and they're like, well, I don't want to wrestle a woman. I'm like, well, good news, buddy, I'm not a woman. And I'm gonna wrestle you, you're gonna wrestle me, because right now we're coworkers.
Yep.
Like this is a job. You are getting paid to be here, you're getting paid to get in the ring. I'm going to give you a fun, safe match. I expect you to give me a fun, safe match.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
No.
I'm going to hit you and you're going to hit me and it's going to be fine
Oh yeah.
because we're both professionals.
Oh yeah. And like I've interviewed people that I coined the term with them equal opportunity ass kickers because like intergender wrestling, like a lot of forms, there's people that support it, people that don't.
Yeah.
I've always looked at it, and I remember talking with Billy Starks about this. And I'm like, if you are a promoter and you have two people, regardless of gender identity, whatever, they can go. Everybody wants equal footing, equal opportunity. What better way to prove it than to just let those two go?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like one thing my trainer is really big on is we all know what we're signing up for.
Yeah,
Like I go to training, I go to the gym, I go to promotions, go to shows. Like I know what I'm signing up for.
yeah.
So I'm going to give you respect and I expect that same respect back.
Oh yeah. No, I'm definitely in the same boat with you there. I'm literally always I will treat everybody with respect until you give me a reason not to.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And like I said, I've been really lucky. I've worked on some really amazing promotions. Every promoter I've worked for has been super respectful of myself as a wrestler, my identity. Like I said, I wrestle a lot of dudes. All of those dudes, for the most part, have been awesome, have been super great. And I've learned from every single match and every single worker,
That
because
is
you learn different and you're like, oh, like, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to sound weird, but like I've worked with bigger dudes. They hit me a little bit harder. but that's fine. And then I get
No,
used to it. And then I'm like, okay, now I know what to expect. Like, this is going to toughen me up a little bit. This is perfect.
the perfect way to think about it. All right, now I have two categories here. One's a bit of a name game where I name off some people, and you give me quick thoughts on them. And you know what? I try to theme towards the guests as much as possible. And I mean, I just got kind of distracted a little bit because I'm on my phone and it just popped up that Matt Tremont tagged me in something. So I'm like, okay, I'll look at that when I'm done. But with the LGBTQ, like, okay, I'm trying to get that straight because sometimes I get talking a little fast, but LGBTQ plus community, it is more accepted now, but each of these people on this list, in one way or another, they're in that community and they've all been on national platforms at one time or another.
Okay.
First one, we talked a little bit about them, but Abadon.
Yes.
So, first thoughts that come into your head about them.
Ah, geez. Tough, spooky, supernatural. They have such a unique angle on what they're working right now. It's something that I don't see very often, which I think is really badass. And somebody that I definitely hope I get the chance to meet or work with in the future.
You know what? Ever since asking about you coming on, I'm like, I got to thinking about it. I'm like, holy crap, that would be an amazing tag team match to see you and Abadon teaming up. That would be something else.
That's the dream. That's the actual dream. Uh I don't even know. I mean, I would because I get into the zone, but I'd be so nervous leading up to that because
No,
I look up to them so much. I'd be like, I need to make sure that like you look good and like this match goes well. But yes,
oh yeah,
that is the dream to be able to work with Abadon one of these days.
oh yeah. No, I totally understand because I one of my all-time favorites, one of the only people that have a whole section up here behind me with my collections with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've always said that if I ever got to actually meet him, ever have him on the podcast, well, first, if I ever got to meet him, I don't know if I'd be able to get a word out because I'd be like,
Yep.
here. And if I ever got to actually have him on the podcast, I'm like, okay, my opinion thing, my 2 cents, okay, I'll just flip to that. How can I top an interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin besides having him on again?
Yeah, that's how I feel about Rhea Ripley. Like, if I ever got the chance to meet her, I don't know if any words would come out. I think it would just be like sounds because I would be so nervous.
Oh god, yeah, just the way you have them built up in your head is just like you actually get in the same room as them and you're like, oh, in your head you're like, holy shit, that's actually them.
I don't, and I've had friends that have done WWE work, and I've had friends that have met her, and they're like, she's so sweet. Like, don't even worry about it. And I was like, no, you don't understand. She might be sweet, but that's gonna make it even harder to talk to her.
Oh yeah, because you got that image of the in front of the camera persona, and then you actually get to meet them, and you're like, holy crap! Like Swerve, I actually got to meet him one time, one of my figures again back there. But man, he put like he's getting more on the face side of things now. But that feud he had with Hangman, goddamn, he played one sadistic son of a bitch. But the time I got to meet him, one of the nicest dudes ever.
Oh, I love it. And that's what I've heard for a lot of those guys. And is that they're just so nice. They're so nice and down to earth. And especially if you start to do extra work and they start to see you and recognize you, they're so sweet and they'll come up and introduce themselves. And I was like, that just makes my heart really happy because you always hear, don't meet your heroes.
Yeah, I
And
definitely
it
heard that.
sounds like most of the people in the big times are really sweet. I think it's unfortunately sometimes some of the indie people that you look up to that you have to be a little bit more like cautious about.
Yeah, I've unfortunately had some instances like that, but you know
I
what?
think we all do at
Try to.
some point.
Oh yeah, try to concentrate on the positive ones because you know what? Those ones, at least for me, those ones have far outnumbered the bad ones. So,
Yes, no, yeah, always focus on the positive.
oh yeah, most definitely. Now, next person, they kind of came in the news not long ago because of some bullshit with Oklahoma, but Nyla Rose.
Who?
Nyla Rose,
Nyla Rose. I don't know if I'm super familiar with Nyla Rose.
transgender wrestler for AEW. AEW actually got a warning from Oklahoma about using her. Or her. No, I'm okay. I'm trying to be better at that, but that was them.
Oh no. I didn't even think of, man, Oklahoma sucks. Come on, guys.
You know what? No offense to anybody from Oklahoma, because I'm sure there's some great people from there,
Oh, of course.
but
Yeah.
it's those bad apples that spoil it for the whole bunch. Because I remember going to a college football conference championship game in Kansas City against Oklahoma. And good Lord, some of those Oklahoma fans were some of the rudest people I'd met in my life. And then I got stuck in an Oklahoma City Greyhound station for 8 hours. And get the people there, it was like they just seemed to hate their job.
So it's funny you mentioned Nyla Rose, and I wanted to look them up on Instagram so that I could start following them, and I already follow them. So I am aware of them. I I can't even imagine. Like I can't even imagine doing what I love, doing my job, and then having the state government say, hey, you're going to get in trouble if you come here and do the thing that you love to do.
And, you know, people give Tony Khan a lot of crap. And, you know, while some of it might be somewhat justified because, you know, hell, some people need to learn when to put down the Twitter machine every once in a while. But he is like fully standing behind Nyla. And I'm like, you know what? Good on him because, good Lord, just let people be. That's all.
No, no, and I think that's amazing. Like it doesn't like they're a badass no matter
Oh,
what. At the end of the
exactly.
day, like that's all that matters.
Oh yeah. Like good lord, you see some of the matches, especially early days of AEW and hell, some of the Ring of Honor stuff that they've done lately. Holy crap. Amazing. And then you see, you know, behind the scenes sort of stuff that they've done with like, you know, me being the figure collector that I am, seeing the stuff that they've done with like Ethan Page and the toy hunt vlogs that he would do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, one of the most entertaining people out there, just across the board.
Yep. And that's all and that's all that should matter. But unfortunately, there are some people that don't think that. So, and you'll have to excuse me too. I feel like I'm really bad at names. Bad at names, better at faces.
I'm that way a lot sometimes myself because I mean, hell, I just had this come up at work where somebody was asking me like, "Oh, do you remember so and so's name?" And I'm like, "No, but if you brought them in front of me, like, yeah, that's them."
Yep. Yep. And I
I'm that way.
follow so many people on Instagram and so many people on Facebook that I was like, if you show me who they are, I probably know who they are. But
Oh God,
the
yeah.
name is awful.
Oh yeah, nope. I am the same. Now, next one, they, you know, I mentioned Warrior Wrestling. They've appeared a lot for them. And, you know, you want to talk about equal opportunity ass kickers, just intimidating as hell of a character. Max the Impaler.
Yes. um, Gosh, huge inspiration. I love seeing all the stuff that they're doing in Japan. I think that's so cool. The juxtaposition of there is this huge, beefy, burly wrestler, and then whoever their opponent is, who's I don't think they've ever wrestled anyone bigger than them, or if they have, it's very few and far between.
Yeah.
They are another one that I would really, really love to meet one day or see wrestle in person.
Oh yeah. I've been lucky enough to get to witness a handful of my favorites. Max the Impaler is definitely one that I haven't yet. So hopefully one of these days when I'm able to, the podcast brings in a little more money, I'm able to travel some more and get out to some of their shows because that everything I hear, it would be an experience I wouldn't forget.
And that's kind of what I have heard too. And just following them on social media and just see the strength, like the brute strength and the rest. It's awesome. I really hope that I can be like that one day.
No, last but not least here, Sunny Kiss.
I don't know, Sunny Kiss.
They were in AEW for a while. They got released. They're back on the indies, but I mean, by all means, when this gets released, somebody in the comments correct me if I'm wrong. But the place that I remember first seeing them was actually Lucha Underground.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I forget what
I
season.
really enjoy. So when I first got into wrestling, okay, I know who Sunny Kiss is.
One of those. You see the face. Yeah, I
No,
get you.
yep, nope. I absolutely. Oh, okay. So speaking of which, so this is a picture, an Instagram post of Sunny Kiss lifting up Ryzen, which is awesome. I love that. I'm gonna send that to him and be like, hey, I need you to tell me about this because I'm gonna see him in a couple weeks.
Nice.
Um, no, I feel really bad. I don't follow AEW that much, and I I feel like I need to follow AEW more because they are really putting forth queer talent in intergender matches, and that's not something that WWE is doing, and I don't think it's something that they're going to be doing a lot of anytime soon.
Yeah, as far as the intergender stuff, not so much. I know. I mean, as far as queer talent, I mean, they have them. It seems like a lot of them are injured right now, actually. Like
Yeah.
Sonya Deville, I know she's injured and
Mm-hmm.
taking time off, which I mean, deserved when you have injuries rack up like that.
Yeah. Geez, now that you say that, it does seem like there's a lot of people injured right now.
Yeah. Now, yeah, when you really think about it, you're like, holy shit! I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah, because Charlotte Flair is still recovering,
Yeah.
right? And then everything with Rhea right now,
Mm-hmm.
too. And then I know, yeah, oof. But yes, no, going back to the original, yes, I do know who Sunny Kiss is, and I do already follow them. And again, absolute powerhouse,
Oh yeah, and
absolute powerhouse.
Powerhouse is
And love the
entertaining as
gear,
hell.
love the look, love the gear.
Oh yeah, and like I said, entertaining as hell too. Like I don't know what it is about. There. Okay, I lost my train of thought there. But like I said, entertaining as hell. Long story short, get to the point on that one before I
Mm-hmm.
really feel awkward with having a brain fart there. Okay.
No, you have to be entertaining as hell though if you want to get anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Like you have to be.
Oh totally. Because that's the whole thing. You're in what they it's not used as much anymore, but sports entertainment. You're in there. It's an athletic contest that you're showing off in an entertaining manner. So
Yep.
if you can't be entertaining, then you're not going to be there for long.
Yep. It's that perfect like mix of being an athlete and then also a theater kid.
Yep. That is why there's a lot of the wrestlers that get into acting, they seem to get a lot of roles relatively quick. Hell, The Rock. Although my wife and I have been watching that that newest John Cena one, and I'm like,
Peacemaker?
no, it's a comedy one where he plays a addict, and these people pay him to play this fictional made up friend.
Is it the one with Zac Efron?
Yes.
Ricky Stenicki.
Yes. We
Yes.
just we just watched that not long ago, and I'm like, John Cena's a better actor than The Rock. I'm just saying.
Okay, so yes, John Cena is a better actor than The Rock, but I think Dave Bautista is a better actor than John Cena and The Rock.
Underrated
Oh
because
yeah.
like some of his roles, like they don't get the advertisement that Cena or the Rock's ones do, but just as good, if not better, than a lot of them.
Oh yeah, and he wants to do different kinds of roles
Yeah,
too. Like he doesn't just here's the thing about The Rock. Whenever The Rock is in the movie, whenever The Rock is in a movie, he's just playing himself.
yeah,
And I feel like that's kind of the same with John Cena too. But Batista wants to be different characters. I feel like he does actually want to really be an actor.
oh yeah. He's done the Marvel stuff. He's done. Wasn't he a Bond villain?
Ooh, I don't know. I know he was in Glass Onion.
Yes, that was another one I've seen. Yeah, he was pretty good in that one.
He was super good in that one.
Oh
He's
yeah.
also in a horror movie too, which I can't think of the name of right now.
You know what? I think I've heard that he was in one. Like you, I can't remember the damn name right now. Oh well. All right. So I got some random questions now. Some might be wrestling related, some might not be.
More random than how we've already been.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Some might have absolutely nothing to do with anything we've talked about, even though this whole episode has been different random topics.
It's
So,
like the ADHD like rabbit holes.
yes, you go down a rabbit hole and just see where you go, and then, like, oh, wait, I wanted to talk about that. Okay, we'll go there.
It
That
happens.
happens a lot with me. I don't know why. Okay, now I'm starting to get that cough again. Okay, anyways, so I give you the question, you give me first answer that pops into your head.
Okay.
First one, craziest in match moment for you.
Craziest in match moment for me was probably my match with Gino a couple months ago. He, I had never taken a cannonball from anybody before. And so I wasn't sure I knew I needed to like take it and brace myself. But he's not that big of a guy, but I didn't brace myself properly. And
oh,
you can hear it on the recording, and my friends make fun of me for it because he landed and I didn't have any air in my lungs. Like I lost all of my breath, and
oh,
then all the crowd is silent, and all
oh.
you can hear is because I'm trying to catch my breath
Oh
because I
no.
took it wrong, and I feel so stupid. Like looking back on it now.
Yeah, that would be hard to top that one. I know I've seen my fair share of crazy stuff, including
I mean, I'm
being.
still fairly new too,
No,
so
yeah.
I might have something different in 2 months. Who knows?
Hey, hey, I always say to each of my guests that they're welcome back anytime. So you know what? Next time I'll still ask that question, see if we got anything new.
Perfect.
But yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff, including being at a no ring deathmatch show and wondering afterwards, you know what? I'm thankful I wore closed toed shoes because I had the connector end of a light tube fly off and hit me in the foot.
Oh,
Yeah, that was something.
that I get, man, I guess I don't know if this is the craziest thing I've ever seen, but I got to see over the course of 2 days, Mickey Knuckles
She can have some
win a
crazy.
deathmatch title, and that was pretty crazy. That whole deathmatch weekend was
Oh,
insane.
oh yeah, I've been lucky enough to have some pretty big names in the deathmatch world on, including John Wayne Murdoch. Took me damn near a year, but I got it done.
Hey,
But
you got it.
yeah, plenty of stuff with death matches. Yeah, including Flaming Glass. That was wild.
Yeah,
That
no,
was
that shit's
actually
crazy.
that was literally the end to my first ever legit death match. Jake Christ was one of them, and they end the show. They end the match by four folding chairs. They bridge two panes of glass, and then Bobby Olson, Jake's friend slash manager, comes in. I see him pull out lighter fluid, and I'm like, I'm third row for that. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
god, and then I'm like, oh.
It's not the fire that scares me. The fire I could probably deal with. It's the light tubes. The light tubes freak me out.
Yeah, because if they're not worked with properly, and you still leave some of that the chemical stuff in there in them, that can get
Yep.
nasty.
So give me all the fire. Just keep the light tubes.
Keep the light tubes away. That's fine. All right. Now I got two questions here. One first, lots of traveling. We've talked about a lot of it, different states, different towns. What would you say is some music on a road trip playlist?
Um, it usually ends up being a playlist of WWE entrance music.
Nothing wrong with that. I know I've got a few on my phone.
Yep, normally ends up being like a playlist of that for a little bit. We'll go into some like dad rock, so like Creed, Seether, Nickelback,
Mm.
that kind of thing. And then every once in a while, it starts to get a little bit weird with some Weird Al. It depends on how the car's feeling.
Oh god, can't go wrong there. Like if you need a pick me up, just throw on some damn Weird Al, and there you
Yep,
go.
sometimes when you're 10 hours into a road trip, you really just need that Weird Al to get you through the next couple hours.
So yeah. Now, somewhat similar, but we talked a little bit about some actors and some movies. What would you say is a favorite movie of yours?
Um, my my favorite go-to movie whenever I'm upset is Nacho Libre.
Sometimes I wear the stretchy pants just for fun. Yeah, can't go
When
wrong.
I've had a bad day, it's been, or I'm tired, maybe I've been on the road and I get home, I just like to put on some Nacho Libre and just chill out for a little bit.
No, yeah.
Um and it helps. Jack Black helps every time.
Oh God, him. A lot of his movies are good for a pick me up. Like
Yep.
School of Rock's another good one of his.
Oh, that's another really, really good one too.
I know me and my brother now, even growing up, you know, moving out and everything, still a lot of times we get together and we're still, and this isn't Jack Black related, but one of our favorite movies growing up, we still quote randomly Dumb and Dumber from time to time,
Yep.
especially the scene where one of them takes a nap and wakes up and he's like, "Oh, I thought the Rocky Mountains would be a little rockier than this." Yeah, that John Denver's full of shit, man. Oh yeah.
God, I can't remember the last time I've seen Dumb and Dumber. It has
You know
been a
what?
hot second.
It's been a while since I've actually sat down and watched it myself, but man, could I quote stuff from that like I just watched it 5 minutes ago.
That's how we are with Nacho Libre. And my best friend and I have that thing where we just have movie quotes stuck in our heads.
Oh God.
or like TikTok sounds or memes, and we'll just like parrot it back to each other.
Oh God. That's me and a friend of mine from work. We're
Mhm.
different. Oh God, we switch from South Park to Simpsons to just random shit. Like I remember the other day I quoted my favorite Simpsons line ever when they were searching through some porta potties and they get to one with Grandpa Simpson and he's like, "This elevator only goes to the bottom, and somebody made an awful mess down there."
We'll quote that line from Holes all the time of like we'll be driving and be like, I'm tired of this grandpa. And they'll be like, it's too damn bad.
Yes. Oh God. Okay. You know, back on next question here. Back on a road trip thing. Favorite road trip snack?
Favorite road trip snack. Slim Jims.
Okay, can't go wrong there. I know
Yep.
there's those Reese's sticks because I'm a sucker for peanut butter cups.
I
Those
mean, Reese, God, Slim Jims are great. Corn nuts. I'm a
oh
savory person. I
oh yeah.
love savory snacks while I'm on a road trip. Funyuns is
Oh,
another really good one too.
I actually have some flaming hot lemon ones upstairs.
Yep.
I'm
I'm a
I'm
big
definitely
baby when it comes to spice, so I have to be careful with that.
oh yeah. My parents claim that I burnt off all my taste buds that detect spiciness,
Yeah, I
which
have some
they're
friends like that. I still have all my taste buds, so I have to play it real safe. Like flaming hot Cheetos, I'm like, oh, this is good.
got you there. All right, now with a name of a show like I have, I would feel weird if I didn't have this question. Favorite drink, whether it be alcoholic or non, or shit, one of each, because I know there's plenty of people out there that for one reason or another don't drink.
Yeah, of course. Um, my favorite drink right now, if I can find it, has been the coconut cream Dr. Pepper,
I just had that yesterday.
which has been freaking impossible to find around me. I had a friend of mine bring some to a show a couple weeks ago, and I have not been able to find it since, except for I haven't been able to find it myself. So I'm like, you have to bring me some. So that's been my favorite right now. My favorite alcoholic drink is very simple. I just love a gin and tonic.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. I'm a bit of a Dr. Pepper fiend myself. When we started, I was having one. I did, like I said, I had one of those coconut cream ones. Good. A friend of my wife's thought I would love it, and I'm like, I joked with them.
It does taste a little bit like you're drinking sunscreen, which is not for everybody. I apparently love it. So,
Okay. Wow, that I laughed a little too hard there. Okay, but yeah, no, I'm Dr. Pepper fiend. I'm more of a beer guy when it comes to alcohol. I haven't been able to have any of this lately, but Stone Cold's Broken Skull American Lager.
I have never had that before.
There's no place in Omaha that sells it. I need to have my in-laws from Kansas City bring me up some because I know they have it down there.
I was about to say, is it like a regional like beer situation?
You know what? It's very weird their distribution of that because I was actually on a trip up to Green Bay, Wisconsin for a Packers game and found a random grocery store that had it. So I'm like, shit, okay, I'm taking that. And
It's like a Yingling situation. Like you could only find it some places and it was weird. I know
yeah,
for I also love beer. Can't do IPAs
I'm
because
not. I'll drink them, but I'm not so much of an IPA person myself.
no, I love a pale ale. I love a sour. Um, I living in St. Louis, Schlafly
Mm.
was our go-to. That is still my favorite beer, and we can't get it in Colorado. Which I'm like, there's only Kansas in between us. Like it feels like it's not that far away, but okay.
Yeah, you'd think, well, they were so close, but it's the same thing with the American lager. It's like, okay, I can find it a lot of places that are within like 2 to 3 hours from me, but not here. Why?
Yep. Dang. Well, now I want to try it. And then I have to, when I go back home to St. Louis, I'll have to stop in Kansas City and see if I can find it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where all they have it, but there's like the website you can see, you can find different places that have it. Just
Yeah.
none of them here. God damn it. Anyways, anyways, last but not least, here, best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling.
Best advice that I can give to somebody who wants to get into this is find yourself a good training school, a good, reputable training school, not someone's backyard. You know, really kind of vet who you're getting your training from because that is going to make or break you.
Yeah.
Because not only is that going to affect your basics, like when I first started training, I wasn't training in a ring. I wasn't training in a wrestling ring, and it really affected the way that I moved, the way that I took bumps and stuff like that. So find yourself a good school, find yourself somewhere that you can actually train in a ring and be consistent about it because that's the biggest thing, being consistent.
That being consistent, getting out there as much as possible. Because yeah, that's the hell. That's even the damn thing with the podcast. I get told quite often. Actually, EC3 told me this not very long ago. He was like, consistency, keep
Yep.
that, and
Yep,
right along the
absolutely. And
same line.
I totally understand having to take some time off for your mental health or an injury, but get back as soon as you can. And then also just go to shows. Go to shows, show up, help however you can, show that you're a good worker, someone that people can depend on,
Mm-hmm.
and promoters will see that.
Oh yeah, and they all lots of people have told me, always keep your set of gear in the car because you never know one of those shows. And I've actually heard of situations where it happened where they weren't initially meant to be on the show, but then somebody couldn't show up. Somebody had travel issues, and then boom, they're on the show.
Yep, always bring your gear. Always have your gear in the car.
Yep. All righty. Well, before we go, where can people find you social media wise so if they don't already have their eyes on you, they can go ahead and get them there?
No, I am on Facebook and Instagram, both at Davver, Kay space Davver.
had to think a little bit, but we will get all of that in the description. I like to try to get people that listen to the show get following the guests on social media, so they, like I said, people that might not already have their eyes on you, they go ahead and get them there.
Yeah, thank you. And we got to get you to your next goal too for your followers.
Yes, definitely. Subscribers, at least on the YouTube channel, I am sitting at 322 right now. So we need to get to, you know what? I'm not going to go setting a goal for 500 yet. We'll go 400 and then go from there.
Hell yeah, we can do that.
Oh, yeah, we can definitely do that. Well, that is about all I have. Thank you again for taking the time to talk to me tonight. Best of luck out there traveling all throughout the mountain time zone. And hell, even if you get out here, I want to see it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, asking me to be here, taking the time. It was wonderful getting to talk to you. And if I'm ever out that way, guarantee it.
Definitely. And like I say to as many people as I can, you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. I would be happy to be back.